everyone, and welcome to a new episode of JKL Media Reviews. I'm Karen, and I'm here with my cohorts, Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hello, everyone.
And Jesse. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, Karen.
Hi. Today we're going to be talking about the animated film by DreamWorks, The Wild Robot. It's something that I watched. I think Jesse also watched it, but I thought this is such a good movie. And I think it's underrated, although it's gotten a lot of acclaim. And I just wanted to see if I could bring a little more attention to it. Up front, you guys want to say something about it? I'll go with you, Jesse.
Yeah, when I saw it was on Netflix, I kept meaning to watch it. And then just something else came up, right? Something
Mm,
came up. And I kept going, I need to watch this because it was Oscar nominated. And so when you brought it up, I said, okay, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to watch it. And I adored this film.
mm.
I thought it was clever. I thought the animation was absolutely beautiful. The vocal cast, the actors were really well done. And I also liked the message. You could nitpick a little that probably this is a little bit of a fantasy, but it's a good fantasy.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I do love the idea of that for mutual survival, we're going to put aside our base nature and our needs and to help everyone else. And in today's environment, it is definitely science fiction,
Yep.
super fantasy,
Fan-
but it's really well done.
Awesome. Okay, Lou, how about you?
Yeah, I pretty well echo everything Jesse just said. It's a gorgeous looking picture. There's some opening scenes where they show like a flock of birds taking off or landing. I can't remember, but just really gorgeously animated. It reminds me a lot of The Iron Giant in
Mm-hmm.
spirit and another fantastic animated movie about a robot. And this one, like I'm looking at the cast, and I have to say that I didn't recognize any of the voices while I was watching the movie. So they all did a great job of becoming the characters that they were portraying. And I thought the bear sounded familiar, but I didn't realize it was
Yeah,
Mark Hamill.
Mark
I
Hamill.
actually, when I'm looking at the list, I was guessing well, that must have been Vin Rames, but no, he did the
He was
Falcon.
the Falcon.
The message of it's very much and I'm going to Jesse always references Bruce Springsteen. I'm going to reference Star Trek, the Vulcan philosophy of idic, infinite diversity
Yeah.
and infinite combination. So you get all these disparate animals working together by the end of the movie to reach a common goal, and it's their differences that make their plan or their effort work, as opposed to at the beginning they're all bickering and isolated from one another. So it's a very timely message, and I'm glad to see that it got a fair amount of acclaim during its release. And that I'm not the age group for this kind of movie. From a cursory glance at it, I see an animated movie like this, and I go, okay, this is a movie for kids, but it's really not. And
It is, but it's not,
yeah, I mean,
right?
it's what's Toy Story movies or Iron Giant or whatever, but it's got layers. Maybe the layers aren't as deep in this one as others, but I thought overall it was a really well done movie, and I'm glad that you suggested that we watch it.
Awesome. That's
If
great.
if I could interject for one
Mhm.
thing, Chris walked by while I was watching it and he said, "Oh, that reminds me of Iron Giant. What was that phrase?
I'm not a gun.
We are who we choose to
Choose to
be,"
be. Yeah.
Right.
which when I it made me want to go watch the Iron Giant again. I actually
Yeah,
said, "Wow, I wonder if we should do a follow-up and do Iron Giant."
I was
I
thinking the
thought the
same.
same thing.
I
The
did
Uh,
exact
too.
same thing.
Yeah.
and I just was like, and I'm tearing up now when I think of the robot and he goes, "I'm not a gun."
Uh,
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm Superman." I'm just chokes me up
Yep.
Yeah.
it does have that same feel of so it's just a beautiful film to look at and a beautiful story. And I'm going to echo what Lou just said. This is so happy I got to spend this couple hours watching this. And I don't know if I would have ever gotten to it if you hadn't said, let's do this. So thank you.
Awesome. I'm so glad. I watched this when it first released on streaming services and it was on Peacock. Peacock has essentially an exclusive deal on it. The DreamWorks made a deal that Netflix could have it for a certain amount of time, and then it goes back to being exclusive to Peacock. And I think that's a smart move because it's available to like a subset of people.
Right.
It's like a Venn diagram. Here's the people that have both, and the people that have Netflix are on one side, and the people who have Peacock are on the other side. And so this hits the Peacock people, and it was a big deal. It was all over the front page of Peacock, and it had all the listings on it, nominated for this, nominated for that. It was nominated for many awards, and it won, I'd say about half of them, and several of them being like science fiction. Hugo Award, it won a Hugo Award. So I really thought it was smart of them to release it on the service that they're affiliated with. DreamWorks is affiliated with Peacock. And then to say, okay, we're going to take it off Peacock, put it on Netflix so that it's exclusive to a service, and then move it back over to Peacock. Just very smart. And also, it premiered in a film festival. What film festival was it? I'm sorry,
Toronto.
Toronto
Yep.
Film Festival.
Yep.
And then just a few weeks later, it came to theaters. And so it had that buzz really just as it was premiering, it had all that buzz. And again, I think it's very, very smart. It was pundits of film do like estimates. Here's what a film's going to make its opening weekend. And it almost doubled that. Its opening weekend. It so far it's made about $350 million worldwide, and that's a lot for an animated film. What's up there with Shrek as far as DreamWorks films go. And it made a lot more than some Disney films, which is saying something.
Yeah, because Disney has that built-in brand,
Yep. And
right?
people will go see a Disney movie because it's a Disney
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of times people just look at an animated movie and they say, oh, it's not Disney. It
Right.
can't be as good. I think this benefits from that Shrek effect where people love Shrek so much. It's such an iconic movie. And they build it as from the makers of Shrek. And that also added a layer of protection for it.
Mhm.
Instead of saying, hey, we premiered at a film festival, which it did still, but it said, hey, you're going to this film because the people that made this film that you love also made this. And I really love how they did all the marketing. They really made sure to reach people with it. And I couldn't go without seeing it. It was all over Peacock, and I saw it and I went, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch it. And so I watched it less than a month after it premiered on Peacock, and I sobbed while I watched this movie. And I watched it again about a week and a half ago, and then I watched it again yesterday. I watched it last week with my husband, and he was like, yeah, it was good. And I said, all right, whatever. He's not really the audience for this. He is, and I say that's valid, but he did enjoy it. He watched the whole thing. He didn't fall asleep, and that's a big deal. I'm also going to say something that might be controversial.
Okay.
I think this is
On this podcast? No
Yeah.
way.
Controversial to you guys, even.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This is a dystopian film.
Yeah, I could see that.
Where Roz came from, it feels dystopian for sure.
Yeah.
There were other hints at that also. When the geese were migrating, they flew over San Francisco and the bridge was submerged underwater. There were hints that this is from a future where bad things have happened in the world.
Doesn't seem to be any humans.
Exactly. They didn't show a single human
Yeah.
in this movie. So I don't think that the world is devoid of humans because the robots serve humans. They're farming, which
Yeah.
robots wouldn't
Yeah.
need.
They must be. Yeah.
But it did look to me like it's a world that is very much in the future and a future where things continue on the path that they're on, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah.
So, as far as that goes, I feel like it's almost science fiction slash fantasy.
I
And yeah,
no, I'm nodding head saying
nodding.
yes, I
Okay.
agree. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
talking animals is definitely fantasy.
Right. Yeah, it's solidly fantasy. But I also think there are sci-fi elements to it. And there are also
Sure.
nods from the creators to science fiction. Rosm robots, the term is based on, hold on, let me,
Roswell,
no, by oh my goodness, why am I not finding this? By a
Rossum's
science
universe.
book.
Is that for the Russian one, maybe? The first book about robots? Yeah, RUR is a 1920 science fiction play by Czech writer Karel Kapik.
Right.
RUR stands for Razumovi Universali Robota.
So it's based on a science fiction concept, the robot.
Mhm.
And he said that growing up was a science fiction-y world for him, and he wanted to really lean into that as a kind of a side note to the story. And that part of why I find this movie fascinating is because of his mindset in creating, and it was writing the books. It's based on a book series and also announced that they're going to be adapting the second book into another movie because this was so successful. So I cannot wait for that.
Karen, have you read the books?
I have not because they weren't on my radar. They're children's
Yeah.
books, essentially.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Now that I know they're making a second movie, I might go read it. I don't know if I want it spoiled. I know where it's going from the end of this movie.
Yeah, they're very much just set up for a sequel.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I thought the same thing is sometimes, usually it's the opposite, where a book is richer than a film. But I find often that if it's a children's book, that the film, because it has to expand, is often more rich
Yes,
than the source material.
I
So,
agree.
yeah,
And these books are quite short.
yeah,
So they really had to almost rewrite the book to make it into a screenplay. And I think it highly benefits from that, that it
yeah,
wasn't just an adaptation. Like The Grinch Who Stole Christmas is essentially
yeah,
just a scene by scene animation of the book.
yeah.
This is a totally different animal from the book series. And while the story stays the same, I feel like it highly benefited from that.
Yeah.
And this is also the final film to be animated entirely in-house at DreamWorks because another company has paired with them and they will be contracted out. And I guess we'll see how that works with the sequel. I do know that DreamWorks had a huge influence on how this was animated. You mentioned how it was animated. I know I'm talking a lot.
That's okay.
Um, and he wanted it to look like it's a watercolor painting. And I think it really does embody that kind of like hand-drawn kind of look, but also CGI. It's a hybrid of the two. And I love how that is. It's not animating every hair on an animal. It's
Hmm.
more an adaptation. You already mentioned that. Do you have anything to expand on about how the style of animation? Do you guys have any other comments about that?
Luke.
As I mentioned, it's a very rich palette. So like the colors are very strong and it but it looks like more like a painting, even though it's done CGI. So they have a real watercolor style that they went for that works really well. But you could tell that this must have been done by computer, but it doesn't have that three-dimensional realistic kind of eerie valley like that the Toy Stories movies have a little bit. This one is
Yeah.
much more, I can't say it's a lack of dimension because it is things are done with a 3D perspective, but it doesn't feel like a video game.
Right.
It really feels like film. So that's a pretty, I got to tip my hats off to him. It's a very gorgeous looking picture. It's helped by obviously by the island setting and all the various creatures in that. So yeah, it was really well done. I'm still shocked to see that it took 4 years to make.
Yep.
I guess to achieve that look must have been quite a technical undertaking because that's the thing with animated movies. They all have their different styles. If you see the Spider-Verse movies, they're very edgy and they employ alternate, very disparate styles of animation within one movie, which is quite unusual. Or this one has this look and it sticks with it throughout the whole picture, which I really liked. It felt organic, and because of the island setting, I think that's very important that they were able to achieve that look.
Agreed. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I love the watercolor feel, right? And the it is it's a very smooth film. The You catch all the personality of the different animals. And I just really liked that it I felt immersed in this world and in a very lush, beautiful, very much the jungles and all the different layers and the sky. And it just is really, I just thought not only I got caught up into the story, but I never lost fact of how beautiful this film is. If you often you'll go to a pediatrician or someplace and they'll have a film on mute. And this would be a good one because it would be, oh yeah, this is really lovely as just background view.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can also probably tell what's going on without the
Yes.
sound.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, related to that, thank you for saying that, actually.
Yeah.
Roz has no facial expressions, and that was deliberate. She is described in the book as being a lot more emotive, but he thought it was a risky choice to make Roz less emotive visually. And
Okay.
when Lupita Nyong'o auditioned, he knew she would be perfect. And what he did is he said, "You act the way you think she would be. I'm going to leave it up to you."
Okay.
And she did such an amazing job. You never really think, oh, her face doesn't show emotion. You feel everything she feels. And that's weird to say because for a lot of the movie, she's not showing how she feels. She actually comes to a conclusion later in the movie that she does have feelings and hasn't up until that point. But you ascribe emotions to her because of the acting that Lupita Nyong'o did. So I want to talk about that, the voice acting and her in particular. How did you find her delivery throughout the movie? How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I loved her voice and how she became more, and I'd hate to say human, but I'm going to use that for slang of less robotic. That was definitely seeing that. And when you get that, this is a pretty good character arc where you are originally the sense of duty, right? I need a purpose. And I think all of us can have that. When Linda first retired due to her brain injury, she had this really feeling of what is my purpose now? And one of the things she has done has become very active in the Catholic Daughters and she goes and visits elderly people that are in the hospitals or in nursing homes and visits them, and just her and her friend Susan to make this so that she has purpose in giving back. And this, I have to have a purpose. And then the journey of actually becoming, they care for this. And the whole, how often do you have a child and a parent that, as always, I'm going to put in Springsteen. Independence Day is his film about a son and a father talking. And he says it's two people that love each other that don't know how to communicate. And in this film, you've got your child and your parent, and they don't know how to say, I love you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know. You have the adolescence rebellion because they found out that the robot had accidentally hurt their family, destroyed their family. But that's so adolescence of, you need to learn how to be independent. So I just really, you talked about this isn't for this necessarily for an adult audience. And as the way all great animated films are, there's two storylines going at the same time. One
Yep.
for the children and one for the youngsters, that it's an adventure. We got to teach them how to fly, and oh, there's danger. And then there's the whole growing up, learning to support your family. So I loved
Yeah.
all the vocal performances.
Great. How about you, Lou? Lupita in particular.
Yeah, she did an amazing job considering her depiction in the movie. Her face never conveyed any expression. I guess the only time really is when her eyes would light up.
Yep.
But beyond that, she did most of her portray or pro projection of emotions just by changing the tone and the volume of her voice. They did help a bit with even though they couldn't show facial expressions, her body language, which
Mm.
as well, which helped sell it as well. So it's always a difficult tightrope for an actor to walk when they're restrained in some particular manner, and it has to be much more of a subtle performance. You could think of, for me again, Star Trek, the obvious one is Spock. He rarely has any, his tone of voice never really changes. It's more his facial gestures, the famous eyebrow raise or whatever, things of that nature. Anthony Daniels as C3PO, again, a character that had no visible facial change yet, through his body language and like just like waving his arms a little bit like Danger Will Robinson kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, and just the tone and inflection of his voice, they're able to convey a lot. And they let, which, and that's the best art, is they let the viewer fill in the blanks. So they project something, and because the audience is identifying with the character, they say, oh, this is what they must be feeling because this is what I'm feeling. And I think that's a very cool bit of acting magic that actors can do with the audiences.
Yeah. And I think it surprised some people because of the roles that she's had in the past. Her big roles have been in Us and
Black
like
Panther.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those roles were great, but she didn't really show a big range,
Yeah.
especially in Us. And I think that this really did surprise some people. A lot of people didn't realize it was her until after the fact.
Yeah, I
And
didn't know it was her.
I
yeah.
didn't either.
And again, this whole movie's like that, essentially
Yeah.
every actor in it, except for maybe Catherine O'Hara. It's hard to mistake her voice.
In
But
retrospect, yes. During the movie, I didn't though. But
I recognize everyone because I am one of those weird people that loves, and you guys know already, I love learning more about actors, about comparing them to their past roles, to being like, oh, that's where I know that guy from. And I'm very much into background actors, guest starring actors. And when they do something that kind of strays from their norm, I get very excited. And so she really made me happy in this movie. I'm going to skip over the other major roles and I'm going to go straight to Mark Hamill, who played the bear in this movie, Thorn. And I think that's funny, thorn in the paw kind of
Mhm.
thing. Even though that was a lion, I think that's the
Reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
reference. Yeah, thorn in the side, thorn in the paw. He's vulnerable because of this one thing. And, that's the thing that causes him to understand they have to work together in the end. One of the things that Mark Hamill has said that he read the book and equated his feelings after reading the book to what he felt after he read the screenplay for Star Wars.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is a big deal. He's only felt that way about a few roles. He didn't even feel that way about the Joker, and we know how good he is at the Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He says, I don't identify with that role. It's just fun. And he puts his whole being into the Joker, but I don't think he's anything like that character. I think he identifies with Thorn and he sees some of himself in that character because even in the very minimal screen time he has, Thorn is a huge character to me. And not just because he's a bear. I think it really typifies the whole we have to cooperate if we want to survive aesthetic that the film has, at least in the second half of the film. And I heard just now that you guys were surprised about that. That's what he felt when he read it. And I also want to know, I'm guessing you guys didn't know it was him when you heard the bear and because a
No.
lot of times you can recognize his voice when he's in something. It might take you a minute or two, but you're like, oh, it has his inflections. He completely transformed for this role. And he said he practiced. And he said, I don't want to be Mark Hamill as the bear. I want to be this bear. And I think he really did a great job. You
Certainly
guys
did.
feel the same, I'm
Certainly did.
guessing?
Yep. I had no
Yeah.
idea it was him.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know either.
Yeah, and I love hearing that lore that he was like, I'm gonna jump on this role. I want to take it, and here's my approach. And they said, "Hello, yeah, you didn't even have to explain why you want it. You're in." But have someone come to you and say, "I read this book and I want to be in the movie," I'm guessing it made them feel really good about the whole screenplay and all that. So I want to talk about some of the other voice actors. I love all of these voice actors. I had no idea who Kit Connor was until I looked him up. He plays Brightbeak. He was also in Heartstopper. And if you've watched Heartstopper, what a great actor he is. And he went through a lot with the release of that series on Netflix. People accused him of queer baiting, which I hate. And they actually they forced him to out himself as part of the queer community. And that is traumatic. And I felt for him when I read that. And I think he did an amazing job as Brightbeak in this. He had to go through a lot of different kind
Right,
of
Bill.
mindsets, emotions. His whole story was a roller coaster. So again, how do you guys feel about Kit Connor?
I don't know him, so
Yeah,
I have nothing to hang my hat on as far as he goes. But he did a good job. I didn't really identify with that character as much as the other ones, though. I just felt he was pretty. He had a little bit of the Dumbo kind
mm,
of thing going on, but he was fine. I just didn't really. Out of all the other voices, that's not one that stood out to me, though.
okay.
Yeah, I had not seen any of his work. I thought he was absolutely fine. And I think this is playing the young child role. He certainly does some growing as a person, but I
As a
enjoyed,
person.
yeah, as he grows as a geese. Yeah.
I would say we can say person.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. The some of the other supporting characters were a little more. I loved Catherine O'Hara and all the kids. All the kids
mhm,
different. I mean, that
so cute.
I want a spin-off of just their adventures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I'm
you
not dead.
don't,
Sorry, Mom, I'm not dead. Oh
yeah,
Yeah.
dear.
and you don't have to pick what killed you. I'm picking this because it's a slow death.
They're
And it's like,
so
dude,
cute.
they
And
were
I love that
so,
one where she says, I have so many kids. I have seven. And one of them goes, and she goes, six.
yeah. And then, yeah, I'm okay, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good. Yeah.
hooray.
Mhm.
They, I love all those. Her whole brood and she did such a great job. I agree with you on the Bright Bill. I think where he does go through a lot of emotions and I understood his character. He is definitely more of a plot device. And I hate to say that, but he is the driving force behind what goes on with Roz. And that's why I wanted to talk about him first as far as the supporting cast goes. I don't think of him as part of the main cast, to be honest. I really do feel like it could have been any kind of animal in that role, but I think a geese is amazing. A goose is amazing in that role, and I think he did a great job with it. Now, Fink, played by Pedro Pascal, who is really having a great year.
That guy's in everything.
He is. And
I was thinking the same thing. Wow. And I loved him. This Fink is such a fun talk about a redemption arc, right?
mm,
That goes from, and I know jumping ahead, right? But the scene with him and the bear, I'm gonna be
mm,
trying to eat you tomorrow. Yeah, just kidding, right? Or is he?
yeah.
And one of the nice things I loved is unlike the scorpion and the frog, right? Where that's by nature. Fink actually goes against his nature
Yep.
and builds this family. And
Yeah.
once again, not every family looks the same. And a family of a robot, a fox, and a goose,
Mm,
that's a family. And it was
yeah.
just really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say him being going against his nature, I think that's part of why he was so convincing to the other animals because
Yeah,
I've gone against my nature. You guys had better live up to my standard. And if you think
yeah.
my standard is bad, then you better surpass it, right? That's his whole character. How about you, Lou, with Pedro?
I was stunned to find out it was him
Mhm.
because he has a certain distinctive sound to his voice. It's more of a, I think it's an accent. To me, it
Mhm.
sounds like an accent, but I didn't hear that. And so this is
No.
what really threw me off. I thought Fink was a pretty good character. I would have been maybe a little more subtle at the end when he wanted to talk to somebody and he says, "But I don't have any friends." I wish they would have left that part out. That should have just been subtext. But other than that, he was good. Definitely him rallying all the different animals. It was interesting that how they certain groups or characters they seem to be like the singular instance of that particular type of animal. There was only the one fox, the one bear. I think there was only the one beaver too, and the
Mhm.
one. Was there another one?
Well,
Maybe
I
that's anyhow. But so it was interesting they had those as singular characters, and because the other characters that were that they don't seem to have any mates or friends, they were all standoffish in their, or they lived a solitary life, more or less.
Mhm.
It was interesting that with the fox, that with Fink, that they didn't have other foxes on the island. So I was, what if, I guess they had to do that because they wanted that character to become, they wanted to show him becoming part of the family deal. But it would have been nice to see another fox show up at the end or something like that.
And
Yeah.
personally, I think that is part of the dystopian view on things that
I could
certain
see,
animals have.
yeah, I could see his arc in the next books
Oh, yeah.
coming along that
yeah.
he does meet another
And
fox and has his
one
own
of the
family.
things that I think might happen is because they have to move, because their forest was essentially destroyed,
Yeah.
they're going to interact with other animals. At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
that's maybe what I think is going to happen. And again, I have
Yeah.
no idea, but I think that would be a good direction to go. One of the things I also want to mention about Fink, and I mentioned Pedro Pascal just as a side note for me, he's everywhere, but I'm not getting tired of him.
No.
And I think that's saying something because I usually push back against
I'm
someone
I
just
am I am
being
getting a
everywhere.
little tired of him, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, like I'm that Fantastic Four movie. I wish somebody else was playing
Okay.
Mr. Fantastic, but yeah,
I agree with you there.
but nothing
Um,
against him, but I just feel like somebody else should have a shot at this. Like
sure.
I can't get over the fact that they got I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but he's on the bear that he's playing the thing. Yeah, that'll be great to see him. It's too bad that he once he transforms, you lose that character, but
Yep.
Yeah.
that guy is a really good actor, and
He's still doing the actor role, even when he's in the thing
oh yeah,
body.
yeah. It's just
Yeah,
that you can't see him. That's all.
right. Yeah, I'm reserving judgment for that because the Fantastic Four movies don't have a great track record.
Yeah,
But as far as the things he's done so far go, I think he's really done a great job. He steps up, he inhabits his roles, and he
absolutely.
certainly did
Yeah. I
in
can
this.
see when somebody becomes marketable and hot, I can certainly understand why everybody wants to cast him in roles.
Right.
It's just as a viewer, it's I think I've seen him in three things in a row now. It's kind of
Yeah.
like I like to
Yeah,
see a
that
different because you can know what you're going to get from him too, right? So that's part of the problem, which is why this was a nice surprise because I didn't recognize him. But in other movies,
mhm.
as soon as I
Hmm.
see him, I says, okay,
Oh, here's
he's
what he's going to be like.
here's what he's gonna this is what this character is gonna be like for the movie. It takes that element of surprise away a little bit, I guess you could say. That's my only thing.
No, yeah. And that's how I am usually. I'm just not at that place with him yet. The Fantastic Four movie might push me over the edge, but so
Who
far I'm,
who I don't get tired of is Catherine O'Hara.
oh, yeah, we'll go to her next.
Yeah.
I do want to mention also that the maker of this film is very active in charity organizations, and he went to the Save a Fox Rescue to get foxes that are unable to be released into the wild to make all the voice actualizations for Fink.
Oh, cool.
So anytime there are growls or anything like that, they're real foxes. And I
Hmm.
loved that. He did that with almost every character
Hmm.
that has vocalizations. And I love that so much.
Yeah, that is cool.
Okay, so let's move on to Catherine O'Hara. You guys have not seen Schitt's Creek.
No.
And
No.
I'm very sad about that because she is such a great actress in that. It is so far away from who she is as a person. And she's done that a lot in the Christopher Guest movies. She's a totally different
Hmm.
person. She played a lot of different roles on SCTV, and I think she made sure
Yeah.
that she was that person. She wasn't Catherine O'Hara playing that person
Yeah.
or that character. And she did that again here. I think she's the most recognizable voice in this movie, for me at least. And I love her so much. I've seen her since SCTV. That was one of the things my brother introduced me to is trying to sneak and stay up late so that I could watch SCTV. I don't remember what network showed it, but I was very lucky to be in an area of California where they showed SCTV. And oh my God, I loved that show so much.
Good Canadian kids.
That's
Yeah.
right. I know a lot of people know them from other things. I
Hmm.
believe Jesus Christ Superstar was one of their things that they did in Canada and lots of improv groups and things like that. So I feel connected to SCTV actors from that experience. And I have really gravitated towards anything that they're in. And I didn't know she was in this until I watched it. I didn't really do a deep dive on the voice actors when I first watched it. And I was like, oh my God, that's Moira. That's her name on Schitt's Creek. And I know her as other characters, definitely. Moira is like her most recent, and I thought, okay, she couldn't be any more different. And she is a mother in this, where she was also a mother in Schitt's Creek, but so different.
Yeah, and the Home Alone
Um,
series.
oh, Home Alone. Yes, you're right. Home Alone. I don't remember her from that, but yeah.
Yeah, she's the mom, and she's absolutely wonderful in her few small scenes in Last of Us,
Oh,
playing
Yeah,
Lyndon.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I haven't seen the studio yet, but I will. Now that I see she's in 10 episodes of that, I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
that's another reason to watch this.
Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah,
It's hard not to want to see her in something.
yeah,
I feel like she's so likable as a character, even if you don't like the actual person that she's playing, you still love watching her do it.
yeah,
I would say Moira is not a likable character, but she plays it so well, you want to watch it. And she is so divorced from her children in that. It's just so different from this. And again, I mention it because it's very recent to me.
yeah,
But I loved how she was so nurturing, but also really sarcastic with her children. Hey, if you die, so what? And but she really wasn't. I think you could see through that kind of. She's the harried mother that almost is okay, if you go away, I can't cry over it, but she would.
yeah,
So
And
yeah,
she had the most laughs. And that
I
character had the most laughs in the movie for me.
yeah, definitely.
And like Jesse said, the kids too.
Oh, they were
yeah,
so great.
yes,
And I love their interactions. I don't know how this was recorded, but I really hope that they were in the same room
yeah.
when they recorded this, her and the children at least. I think it would have been great to have them play off each other. And it sounds like they did. I don't want to make an assumption, but so do you guys
Mhm.
have anything more to add about her role in this movie?
Not really, except that
No,
she was, like I said, she was the funniest character in the movie, and her deadpan humor was fantastic. When that one, she lost that one possum, and then it came back, she was like, "Oh, great!"
Hooray.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was so funny.
yeah,
That was one of my. That was, I think, that was my favorite beat in the whole movie.
Yeah. So
yes,
good. At least humorous.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
favorite little gag in the movie.
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, some of the least recognizable characters I think are Bill Nighy, who played Longneck. The who is she? Who
Bill
is he?
the geese, the leader geese.
yeah,
No, no. Oh yeah, Longneck, right.
Yeah.
And I think his acting in this is incredible. A lot of people know him from that Christmas movie. What am
yeah,
I?
I know him mostly from that zombie. Wasn't it even World War Z? I think.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
You know that movie that's controversial. It's got the guy doing the cue cards.
yeah.
Who am I not remembering what the name is of this
I don't,
movie?
I'm drawing the same blank too.
Let's see if I can find it while you're.
He
Yeah,
plays an old aging rock star
yeah.
in it, and he's very funny in that. And I
Love
think he,
Actually.
thank you, Love Actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was quite sympathetic in that movie, and I think he did a great job. I know he's done a lot of other stuff where he's much more serious. I think he brought his serious side to this role because Longneck is pragmatic. He sees through the surface emotions to what needs to be done, and I loved him in this. You guys have anything to add about Bill Nighy?
No, not really.
No, I thought it was nice that he saw,
But
potential
yeah,
and then also was willing to sacrifice
Mhm.
self, made for a nice little arc. And I am always a sucker for someone who can see someone's potential, especially when the rest don't. And people are people, goose, whatever you
Yeah, you
want.
could say people.
Crowds are just no damn good.
Right.
Cliche. Yeah.
yeah, groups think.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about his character was that he made Bright Bill see that if his family had not been killed by Roz, he would not be alive.
Yeah.
And that was a really important thing, although it got hidden in all the static. But it was a
Hmm.
very important lesson for Bright Bill that hey, don't hold it against her because you wouldn't be here if she hadn't done what she did.
Yeah.
Accidentally, mind you. I really enjoyed his character. He was one of the heart-wrenching parts for me when they come back and she says, "Where's Longneck?" And they all just
Yeah.
lower their heads and it's
Yeah.
look at how sad they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ving Rhames as Thunderbolt, I thought was a very similar character, although much more like a rallying sort. He
Hmm.
also sees Bright Bill's potential, and I felt like he was, and I don't want to make it like an American thing, but patriotic, very much like I I have to be here for the birds. They're my
Hmm.
kin. He just
He might,
wanted
yeah,
to.
he might as well have been an American Eagle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's the feeling I got from him. Ving Rhames is another fantastic actor that
Yeah.
I
yeah,
didn't realize he was Thunderbolt
yeah.
until after the fact.
It's an interesting approach. I don't know if it was a creative decision by the filmmakers that they or the actors just got into the role so much, but it usually when you hire big name stars, you want to know or make it so that the audience aware, oh, this is really Pedro Pascal as Fink,
Right.
but and
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, but they didn't take that tact, and an interesting choice. I wonder
That was
if
a
it,
deliberate choice.
yeah,
And what he said to, I'm thinking most of the actors is do what you want,
Yeah.
fall into the role. And I really do think that actors love that, being able to create a character and to make a character so different from yourself is a very actor thing. At least that's what I see. They really want to make this character a thing, a tangible thing. And when they hide, and I'm putting air quotes around it, when they hide in a character, when they disappear into a character, it's much more poignant and resonant, I think, with audiences because you don't think about the real world when you hear their voice in it. You just think, oh, he's a fox. And I do think that was a deliberate choice. And
yeah. I'm I get what you're saying. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that because I'm thinking of Toy Story. I know that's Tom Hanks and I know that's
Mhm.
Tim Allen, but still those performances were still moving. But that's just
Oh,
because
sure,
the writing was so good. And
that can happen.
yeah,
That it's not
yeah,
my point that it can't happen. I'm just saying I think that in this case, you're just immediately drawn into each
yeah.
character, I
Because
think.
Yeah.
even if I went back and watched it again, I still don't think I would be able to recognize the voices of these
Right.
actors.
Yeah. I did not, especially the
I thought I was
as
just
you
getting old, and you guys would say, "Oh, I heard him. I heard him." I'm
No,
glad that you
that's
all.
like
I'm glad you all had the same
that's
experience.
like
me. But
I did not catch the Mark Hamill at all. Oh,
same
and
here.
so yeah.
Same here. And I got Pedro Pascal the first time through, but it took me a while.
Hmm.
It was something, some inflection at some point. I went,
His
oh my
accent
God,
showing through.
Yeah.
that's Pedro Pascal. Of course, Catherine O'Hara. That
Yeah.
was pretty easy. I don't think she could hide her voice in a character. And that's no slight to her. I think that her voice is so distinctive, but she was picked perfectly for this role. Bill Nighy was hard to target. Mark Hamill, apparently, Ving Rhames, they were all incredibly immersed in their character.
It's interesting because I think like with Mark Hamill, his regular speaking voice isn't really that distinctive.
No,
So when he does other voices, it's really hard to tell that it's him. I think anyhow.
yeah,
But like Tom Hanks just sounds like Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, Mark Hamill can fall into a role. It took me a while to learn that he was the Joker too when that first started.
yeah.
But now sometimes when he plays a animated character, you can hear the Joker in it.
Oh, okay.
At least that's
Yeah.
how I feel. And then I'm like, oh, that's Mark Hamill. And lastly, it's someone that I feel is an underrated actor. Matt Berry played the Beaver in this movie, and I watch things that he's in. I don't know if you guys have watched any of these. He was in the IT Crowd,
No, that's
and he was fantastic in that narcissistic, rich boy kind of role, taking over a company when his father dies and not understanding a single thing. It really dumb. I feel like he was great in that. He played a role in Community where he was a grifter. And then most recently, he was in What We Do in the Shadows, the television show, where he plays a vampire who is married, has definitely wandering eyes and wandering hands and wandering other things. I love him in all those roles. They're all very different. And I immediately recognized him as the Beaver as well. He has a very distinctive voice. And I love him as an actor. I'm pretty sure you guys really don't know him as an actor, but
No, we don't. I'm going through
Yeah.
his list of things. It's mostly British
it's
stuff that I've
it's
never
little
watched.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
Hmm.
done quite a few BBC shows. The
yeah.
IT Crowd was one of his most distinctive roles that he's played. I highly recommend the IT Crowd, especially to you guys who are in that whole like help desk world. One of the running jokes is, have you turned it off and on again? That's the main
Yeah.
character has like a, what do you call it? The tape that goes reel to reel. He has a reel to reel tape hooked up to the phone and he can leave his desk. And when the phone gets answered, he's, hello, IT desk. How can I help you? And it shuts off. And then the person says, "Brr, brr, 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 brr," and then it starts up again. Have you turned it on and off? It's got all the rote things.
He's mostly a voice actor, from what I can see.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff is voice acting, but
Yeah.
I do highly recommend all those things that the Community episode he's in, it stands alone. So if you
Okay.
wanted to watch him in something, and What We Do in the Shadows is one of those shows that I think most everyone would enjoy watching. I feel like you hear it's a vampire show and you think, oh, another vampire show. It's hilarious. And it's not like in your face, sparkly vampire kind of stuff. It's just because they're vampires, all these horrible things happen to them.
Yeah. I've watched a couple of them. It's one of those things I get distracted. Oh, squirrel. And yeah, and I want to go back to, yeah.
Yeah, if you got into the characters, which takes a
Yeah.
minute or two to get into
Yeah.
them, I highly recommend watching the movie first. It's a Taika Waititi movie,
Yeah, right. I
and
was trying to look up who it was. I knew it was because the Thor director, right?
yep, yep.
Yeah.
And he is amazing. He also was involved with the television show and he plays a part in it. And I loved him in that. He is,
Okay.
again, not a likable character, but I think he is an amazing actor and very underrated.
Okay.
People in the UK, uh, they recognize him more than we do here in the States, but I think he deserves more recognition here. And I just loved him in this because it is a very Matt Berry character. And he, again, he had a small part, but he was the hero in the end. He's one of those doomsday prepper type characters. And in the
Yeah.
end, because of all the things that he has done to prepare for things, he's actually the person that puts out the forest fire. And that role I thought was really pivotal and important, but also really downplayed, which I think made for a good character. Did you guys like Paddler at all?
Yeah, I thought it was funny and everyone like the guy like why are we doing this again? I was very happy with it. Yeah, I'm like Lou, I did not recognize the name or even when I looked at it who it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, underrated.
Yeah.
How about you, Lou? How'd you feel about
Yeah,
his character?
yeah, I liked him. He's got that crusty exterior, but underneath it, he's really got a heart of gold, and all his neurotic activities pay off and help save all the animals from the fire at the end. So that
Yeah.
was nicely organically tied into the story.
And he definitely had the Chekhov's tree
Yep,
in this
Yes.
movie.
yep,
I thought that was cool. And then as a side note, I'm going to mention the Ricos, who are the kind of death robots, the stormtroopers of the movie.
Yeah.
They were voiced by Randy Tom. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He is actually a sound designer at Lucasfilm.
oh,
Hmm.
And they picked him because he was already talking like them when he described the sound design of the movie. And they were like, why don't you just play it? And I think he
Yeah.
did a great job for someone who has never voiced anything in an animated film. So that's just a fun side note. We've already gone quite a long way. And as I mentioned, the plot, we've talked about it every so often. I don't think we need to go into that in depth. I think discussing the characters really took us on that journey through the movie. Do you guys have anything notable to add?
I would just say that this was a nice change of pace from the rather serious stuff that we've been doing in the last couple of
Yeah,
episodes. So this was a nice palate cleanser, and I'm very glad to have watched it.
awesome.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing, right? That it was just a little bit of a joy. I loved seeing the idea, like there that scene when it's the coldest winter ever. Once again, a sign for your dystopian,
Mhm.
right? Climate
Yep,
change has happened. And the bear says, look, this whole almost Aaron Sorkin speech, we're going to either do this together or alone. So I promise I'm not going to. And
right.
then he lays down, and then these other animals start
Oh
crawling
man.
up to him and going to sleep with him. And I had to look like, do foxes hibernate? And they don't.
No,
But I was like, okay,
in weather like that, they would
I'm
definitely
gonna
hunker
go with it.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I said I'm gonna go with this,
sure.
and it was just I'm so happy that we were able to spin this together. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I like to bring attention to things. I did that also with Barbie, although I don't think you guys were as into it as you were the wild robot, but
yeah,
I do want to bring some happiness to what we
yes,
talk about. We talk about heavy stuff here, and while this was heavy, it was also so joyful. And that's part of why I love this movie. It's
Yeah,
uplifting and
it's a food for the soul, and
yes, it
exactly
was.
we need
It
uplifting.
comforting.
We need
Yeah.
uplifting every once
Yeah,
in
I totally agree. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where I started to cry, by the way.
a
And
while.
I almost didn't stop when they all cuddled up to each other in the
yeah,
shelter. Oh my God.
yeah.
Oh,
It was just perfect. The
yeah.
idea that we have this together. Yeah,
Hmm.
very happy with it.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys liked it. I was worried. Like with any offbeat thing that I pick, I do worry about what you guys feel. I am happy even when one of you or both of you don't like it as much as I do because it makes for a really great discussion. I feel like this was also good as far as the discussion goes, even if we all were on the same page. And I love, love, love that you guys both liked it.
Yeah.
So there's that. So with that, I'm going to end things here. Thanks, you guys. Jesse, can you mention where people can find you?
Yes, I did want to be changing the subject, but I was very happy. I've shared that Chris adores WWE wrestling,
Hmm?
and one of his favorite characters that has become one of my favorite characters is the wrestler CM Punk. And
Okay, yeah.
he's from Chicago, really great guy. He taps his where his watch would be when he wrestles, and then as it puts this in, so what time is it? It's
Mm.
clobbering time.
Oh, okay.
And but he was talking about the 10 things he can't live without. And he one of them was he picked up this very well-worn The Shining paperback.
Mm.
And he says that he loves horror. And he was talking about that he says, I love the film and I love the miniseries, so I'm going back to the original source. And he gave a shout out to our guy, the creator. The and why am I drawing a blank now?
Stephen King?
No, our
Oh,
Hill
Kubrick.
House. Hill House.
Oh no, Finnegan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
Flanagan,
talked
Flanagan.
about, yeah,
Flanagan.
Flanagan.
God,
He
I'm
talked
terrible
about,
with
he
that.
gave a shout out to Mike Flanagan about how much he loves anything Mike does. And I was like,
Awesome.
oh, look at that. I realized
That's
it.
awesome.
So I was able to tell Chris, hey, look, that's one of our favorite people we talk about.
Yeah,
Um,
another underrated creators.
yeah. All right.
He's
So
moving. Did you know that he's moving to Canada?
I did not know that.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're building a
Yeah.
place out near Vancouver
Yeah.
somewhere.
And they
Awesome.
announced he was on, both him and his wife have done interviews with Katie Sackhoff podcast.
Yeah.
Really recommend her podcast.
Yeah,
She
I've been
does,
listening to it. Yeah.
she is a really good interviewer, and they
Awesome.
just admitted they just were able to announce she is has a role in Carrie, and this
Yeah.
is the first time she's been able to work
Awesome.
with him in a while. She was in one of his early films.
I don't know which one. Oculus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oculus, yeah. And so she's excited to be able to work with him again. I guess they have stayed
And she's
friends.
married to a
Yeah.
Canadian too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
I think
Yeah,
they're going to
Um,
move to
they're
the.
cordial.
yeah.
It sounds like she's trying to move to Canada as well.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
she interviewed his wife, Katie, not Katie, whatever, Mike Flanagan's wife, the
Oh,
actress.
Current
Yeah.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm drawing a blank on it.
Yeah.
Me too.
That was a really great interview. You could tell they were really friends.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Over at Set Lusting Bruce, there is a lot going on. For those of you who are not aware, on June 27th, Bruce Springsteen released a box set of 7 unreleased albums.
Oh my goodness.
Think
Wow.
about that. I've had a couple
That's
of,
a lot of music.
you think about writers. I joked with one writer, CK Westbrook, who joined me to talk about him. I said, "Hey, CK, do you have 7 unfinished novels sitting in your closet?" She goes,
No. Yeah.
and Diego, who's a musician, says it has taken me my whole career to finish 7 albums, and he's got 7 that are finished that he just has not released.
Right.
So I am in the process of having different people join me, and we're focusing on one album per episode. And so by the time this is released, we will be in the middle of releasing all of them. You can check out the music on Spotify. It is 7 different unique albums, all recorded in the late 80s and 90s. And there's everything from rockabilly to there's a soundtrack album that he did for a film that never got released. As he says, it's in production Hades, Limbo.
Yeah.
And so things he did right around when he did the Streets of Philadelphia. So it's a really interesting at 7 albums he decided that were never ready to be heard, and he decided to release them. So
That is
that's,
awesome.
Cool.
yes.
Where can people find you?
At Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter, Set Lusting Bruce, wherever you find podcast. And
Including
Lou,
YouTube?
yes, YouTube. Yes, we do a few episodes in YouTube and on Facebook where I continue to argue with
Pontificate.
yes, I continue to share my thoughts about the current administration.
Push
Please.
back against the system.
Yes, yes, yeah.
I
Yeah.
never thought that we would be rebels at our age, but
No, as this machine fights fascists, my Facebook page fights fascists.
awesome. Okay, Lou, how about you?
Yeah, you can find us.
You don't
obviously-
have to fight against the system so much.
Not so much in Canada, not yet, anyhow. Yes, you can find us, of course, on this YouTube channel, JKL Media Reviews, where we've just finished doing quite a few things. We're looking at starting our next big project, and I think we're all agreed it's going to be The Expanse. So
Yep.
Yes.
if you're excited about that, tune in for that. That'll be starting. I guess we haven't really settled on the start date for that yet, but maybe we just want to sort of cruise for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
before we double up. Maybe this summer, we'll see. Other than that, you can find our archived episodes of Babylon 5, the entire series, and the animated movie on Lou's Reviews. As well, over there, you'll find my writer interviews as well as our Stephen King podcast, where we just recently, as a team, did the review of Stephen King's latest book, Never Flinch. Exciting news from King is that he's finished the 3rd book in the Talisman trilogy, which is great because, unfortunately, with the passing of Peter Straub, he had to do it solo this time. So I'm glad to see that he's done that. And it's like the only last unfinished bit of business for him. So that's going to be fantastic for that to come out. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lou W. Sitzma.
Awesome. And you can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. I am at Oliveria on most of the social media sites. I talk a lot on YouTube, actually. That's a lot of my interaction. Not a lot, but when I feel the need to make a comment, I do so there. And I've been on Reddit a bit to sate my social media. Reddit can be a cesspit. definitely. But I'm on a lot of boards that don't do that. Osh, who I love, and Good Mythical Morning, they are series that I watch. I highly recommend to everybody. As a palate cleanser, as we mentioned with the Wild Robot, their GMM is comedians and Smosh is improv actors. So anyway, that's where I am. That's where we are as a collective. And I just want to end this episode with a line from the trailer of The Wild Robot. I almost said the Iron Giant. And it is sometimes to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be. And with that, I say goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And
And
scene.
and scene.
The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.